When engineers are designing a tank, there are certain trade-offs they have to consider as part of its construction. What type of engine should it use? How heavy can it be? Where should the crew be located? Those are just a few. There's one aspect that's heavily debated, and that's whether tanks should have an automatic loader or a human one. If I had to guess, I'd say this comes from the Cold War, and differences in Western and Eastern design philosophy. Eastern main battle tanks typically use automatic loaders, whereas Western MBTs tend to retain a human loader. Both sides claim theirs is better without question. But is it really that cut and dry? Well, let's take a look. It's commonly said that manual loaders are cheaper, make the tank less complex, give you an extra man for maintenance, don't have to return to a load angle, can unload the gun easily, and can more easily protect the ammo. While it is true the initial cost of autoloaders is higher, I think that lifecycle costs might not be all that different. With a human loader, you have to keep him fed, paid, and comfortable. I can't find a study comparing the two, but during the FCS program, the Army thought that in the long haul, autoloaders were actually cheaper. As far as being less complex, this is obviously true. I seem to recall that in an interview, one of the engineers who worked on the M1 Abrams said the following: "We went with the human loader because that reduces the number of moving parts that can break. But while autoloaders do have parts that can fail, I think their unreliability is greatly exaggerated. I think this stems from World War II, where autoloaders were terrible. They are much more reliable now, though obviously it depends on a number of factors. Strictly speaking, yes, automatic loaders are more likely to break, since humans can't really break down, unless you count injury or sickness. In any case, having an extra man for maintenance is a serious advantage. It goes without saying that working on tanks is tough, so having an extra guy to assist you is bound to reduce both stress and working time. For autoloading tanks, you often see the gun's position reset for reloading. Fans of manual loaders will say this is a disadvantage. Problem is, a lot of manually loading tanks will do the same thing. They automatically elevate after firing. This makes it easier for the loader to insert a new round. In either case, the gun returns to the aim point automatically, so I don't see it as an issue regardless. Not only that, but some autoloaders can reload despite the gun's position, like the one used by the RDF LT. For unloading the gun, that's really not something you want to do on a regular basis. It is easier for human loaders to do, but not impossible for automatic ones. For the M1TTB's autoloader, this was actually a requirement, and one it was able to do easily. It could even restow the round into the magazine. And finally, I have no idea where this comes from, but some people think that with manual loaders, it's easier to protect the ammunition. This has more to do with the layout of the vehicle, not the loading mechanism. For tanks like the Type 90 and the Claire, they have automatic loaders, but they also have blow-up panels just like the M1. I'd say this idea comes from Soviet MBTs, and their reputation for terrible ammo explosions. Now on to autoloader claims. It's said they allow for much higher rate of fire, are a necessity for larger cannons, won't become fatigued, and take up much less volume. Depending on the type, automatic loaders do have high rates of fire, but it's not that big of an advantage. When playing games like War Thunder, your reload rate is usually what limits you, due to the fast-paced nature of battles. Reality is far different. Your main limiting factor is going to be the gunner's acquisition time, and that's completely ignoring that you won't be engaging 4 targets all at once. A high rate of fire is nice to have, but practically speaking, it's not going to make much of a difference. For large caliber cannons, autoloaders are a necessity. Say you've got a 140mm shell. Even if a human loader could load it quickly, he is rapidly going to get very tired. Which leads us to our next point. In some cases, for the first couple of rounds, human loaders can load faster, but as the engagement drags on, their pace starts to slow down. Machines don't become tired, so their sustained rate of fire is much higher. And finally, autoloaders do in fact take up less space. With human loaders, you need a lot of working room, otherwise the loader will be slow and uncomfortable. Autoloaders, especially more modern ones, can be incredibly compact. This drastically reduces weight, as you can use a smaller turret and therefore less armor. You can even opt for an unmanned turret. By saving weight, you accomplish 2 things. You decrease wear on components, and increase the amount of infrastructure you can use. So to summarize, both systems are overrated, but I would say that in most cases, the autoloader is superior. But it depends on the design of the tank, and how it's meant to be used. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one.